What is up, guys? We are coming back to you with a pretty quick follow-up on this juniper that we did a transformation on not too long ago. I probably worked on this, I would say maybe about a month and a half ago. So it's been able to recover from the work that I've done pretty well. We're still in a pretty energy positive time for this tree too. So I thought now would be a good time to come through and just give it a quick prune and a quick tidy up. You can see it's quite full in terms of foliage. I just want to rein that in a little bit just so that we don't lose any of the interior growth. Unfortunately, when they sort of get this bushy, you do tend to get quite a lot of dieback on the interior foliage. I don't want that to happen too much because I still want to be able to bring it in quite a bit and use that inner foliage. You may have seen in the transformation video on this juniper that I posed the question of keeping this as the front of the tree or rotating it to actually the back of the tree and making that the front. And as I took it home and looked over it over the next few days, I pretty quickly came to the conclusion that this needs to be the front in here. Now, in terms of like slight angle adjustments, you can maybe adjust it slightly, but at this stage, I'm not too worried about that. It's gonna stay in this pot for probably at least another 2 years, just to try and help thicken up the main branch. I want to try and get it to fuse a bit quicker to the deadwood that's on here. So I put it in an oversized pot for now, just to try and get as much growth out of it as I can, while still keeping it in a bonsai pod. Now you still might be able to see that there's 1, 2, maybe 3 sections of branches that are looking a little weak at the moment. I'm probably not going to touch them at all. If anything, I'm just going to leave them and prune everything around it, try and redirect some energy into those areas. Worst case, these might die back. You can see up above here, we have a lot of room to bring these down into its position, and maybe it'll be a little bit better in the long term for the tree anyway. So once we get started on pruning, we'll be able to see pretty quickly how that's going to evolve in the design of the tree. Thank you for the feedback on the last video as well. I got a lot of people commenting and DMing me on Instagram and things like that, just to have a chat about the tree itself and the preferred front that they thought. So with that being said, we'll also be able to take off the wire on the deadwood that we created here. Now, with that being the front as well, I'm not sure if this deadwood needs to extend out this far. I think it's maybe a little bit too much. We might be able to bring it back in maybe to this section here, just make it a little bit less focused on that long extension of the deadwood. But what I will do is I'll take off all the wire and then I will get some lime sulfur on this and start to just tie it in with the rest of the deadwood, get it all looking the same, and then maybe we can make a decision after that to see whether our eye travels along this piece of deadwood a little bit too much. I will bring you in for a bit of a close-up on some of the less healthy things and just show you exactly what I mean. But for now, it might just be a bit of a time lapse of me going through. So we'll get started on the pruning process. So we'll bring it back around to the original front of the tree here. So this is all I'm basically going to be doing. I'm going to be leaving still a lot of foliage, but I'm taking out the unnecessary parts of the foliage and the pad structure here, particularly things on the inside that are really weak and are taking up energy that aren't going to be used for the final structure of that pad. That's just going to help redirect the energy into the areas that we actually want that energy and that growth to come from. So we're going to be leaving it basically like this. This particular section here looks a little bit too strong for the rest of the pad, but it is quite weak because it's being shaded out by this. So I'm going to allow that to basically be unpruned this time around, particularly now that this will become the back of the tree. I would like to be able to bring this around a little bit further. This section is just going to help fill in that area a little bit more, make it a bit of a wider pad. And then once it's nice and strong and healthy, we can maybe section this up into maybe 2 or 3 pads rather than just one big pad. So if we come back around to the new front of the tree, particularly on this side and all around here, the color is quite different to everything up above it and even down below it. So I've made my way up most of the tree now. However, there's a fair bit that needs to come out of the apex still. And it's probably gonna look pretty funky after I've cleaned it all out and pruned it back. I kind of think that being apex dominant, it's really taking a lot of the energy of the tree in through the apex. So I'm gonna cut this right back into something quite compact, because I know that's going to grow out the quickest anyway. So cutting it back probably more than I want to or need to should help the overall health of the tree, but it's also going to help in the long term of keeping that nice and compact and not letting it grow out too much. It looks okay in this pot with this height and the overall aesthetic of the tree, but it's going to end up in probably an oval pot. I have a couple lined up that will potentially suit this tree, but they're also going to be much shallower. So keeping it a little bit shorter will suit the shallower pot. So I want to just balance everything, make sure your eye, when you're looking at the tree, follows through the whole tree and it's not just drawn straight up to here too quickly. Like I said, it is gonna look a little bit funky, but the whole apex really needed a bit of a reset. The last time I pruned this, I didn't actually own the tree, but now that I have acquired it for my own collection, I can make some of those bigger decisions and go back a little bit harder where I need to. So I've cleaned this out quite a bit now. I've probably taken back as much as I would like. There's no wire in the apex at all either, so it will be looking a little bit funky in the camera. Overall, the long-term goal of doing this is going to be much better for the tree. And now that I've done that, I do sort of see this disappearing, and even that. Maybe not that, but maybe bringing this around. I think this has got to go. And then we can start, you know, this looks quite perfect in the sense that we can bring these down, bring maybe some of these across, start to get some different sort of layers in this rather than it just being bang, bang, bang. You know, we've got like 3 layers of pads at the moment, whereas I'd like to have multiple different layers at different levels. So by getting rid of this will help to achieve that. You can see this deadwood a lot better also. That's shown off a lot more. Becomes much more of a feature of the deadwood coming up and in. We can probably make a decision about the deadwood on the right. We'll take the wire off, but I think it needs to be shortened to at least this section here, because I think this makes the eye travel a little bit too much. We'll take the wire off and we'll start making some decisions about this. Could just be that I lime sulfur it today and see how it looks over time. Maybe it just looks a little bit odd because the color's slightly different. So when we talk about lime sulfur, what we're talking about is an insecticide and fungicide concentrate product. So your general gardeners and horticulturalists may use this product to fight pests and disease and things like that. Generally in the bonsai world, while it's still used for that, it also has a second use, which is to bleach and help protect the deadwood on our trees. So I'm going to quickly go through the process of that. Now, the particular brand that I use is this brand here. It's just a sea salt product that you can get from pretty much anywhere. I tend to like this one because I find that the full strength of it gives the deadwood quite a nice bleaching. Whereas sometimes with other products, you may actually have to dilute it, whether it's by 50%, you can dilute it at any percentage that you need to get the required look. But with this one, I like to just go full 100%, just saves time and it still gives you a really nice bleaching aesthetic. So we went through and completed all of the lime sulfuring on the deadwood and things like that. I've come back the next day now, just to see how it all tied into the tree itself, and I pretty quickly made the decision that particularly on this piece of deadwood that came all the way out here, it needed to go. It looked really strange and off-putting to the eye as the eye traveled through the tree. I took that out. I did that out of the video because it's not overly exciting just to watch me tear away at some deadwood, so we've skipped over that little bit. All the other pieces have come up really nice that we've lime sulfured. There was another section as well that I did take out actually. If you can see in here, this was coming out really long, so we've just shortened that. Now what we've also done is taken out a pad of foliage right in the center here. I think that's opened it up really nicely in terms of the overall design and balance of the tree. This sort of stuck out quite a bit to the front and was sort of engaging with the viewer a little bit too much, whereas taking that out, creating a little bit of deadwood, it brings the theme of the deadwood up into the middle section of the tree as well. You would have noticed that running along here was quite an even sort of pad on the same level. Another thing that we did is just bring this back piece around a little bit more. This adds a little bit of depth in here because by losing this you really get to see through the tree a lot more also. So we just get a little bit of green, a little bit of foliage and a little bit of depth in the tree out the back now, while still being able to see visually through the tree and the structure of the tree. We just manipulated some other branches as well into slightly better positions, and I think overall the tree looks really good now. So I'll give you a last spin of the tree. We do still have the praying mantis here as well. I'm really happy with the work that we've done on it in this video. I think it has improved it dramatically even from the last transformation video. I still think it was quite heavy. The switch to this being the front of the tree as well, and I think it's looking really good at the moment. So thank you for checking out this video. We will be coming through with some more transformation videos. There's more day in the life coming. There's a bunch of other content coming out soon. So keep your eyes peeled and we'll see you in the next one. Cheers.